I'm Shelly Turner with the Builderall team. In this video, I'm going to show you the magazine app and how to build and share your magazines either in PDF format or on your website. Here I am in the magazine dashboard, and as you can see, I've got several magazines that I've already pulled up and started to edit. Let's go through some of the different things that we have on the screen before we jump in and start editing a magazine. So at the top right hand side, I've got a drop down menu, and it shows you who you're logged in as. And then it also allows you to choose what language you'd like to be in. I've chosen English. If you need to exit this magazine dashboard completely, just click exit and it will take you all the way back to the dashboard. If you just want to get rid of that pop down box, just click outside of it and it will get rid of it. You can also search, so if you have several magazines filling up an entire page and you don't want to scroll through them, you can use the search bar and it will find the exact one that you're looking for. You can also filter all of your items based on alphabetical order or by date. Each one of these magazines has several things that you can do with them. So if you hover over them, you can choose to duplicate the magazine. You can choose to delete the magazine. Once you delete it, it's gone. You can't get it back. And then you can also preview the magazine. So let's take a look at what the preview looks like. So I'm going to hover over my travel magazine and I'm going to click the preview button. That opens a full preview. And when I take a look at it, I can also scroll through the pages by clicking the arrow button. So I'm going to click that. You can see I can scroll through the pages going forwards or backwards between all of the pages in my magazine. So now let's go back to the magazine dashboard. And the next thing I'm able to do is actually edit the magazines. So if I click edit, I can go in and actually edit the magazine. I also want you to notice that on each magazine, there's a little blue bar and it tells you exactly the date that you created that magazine. That helps to organize the magazines based on when you created them or based on the name of the magazine. So if I choose to filter and choose alphabetical order, it puts them in alphabetical order according to the name of the magazine. If I choose date order, it will actually put them in order based on the newest one is the very first one that it shows and the oldest one at the end. Now let's go in and take a look at how you can edit a magazine. So I'm going to take this travel magazine and I'm going to click edit. And now I can start changing some of these things that you see inside the magazine. But as you can see, it's kind of a small picture and I want to make it a little bit bigger so I can see detail. So down here at the bottom, we've got a zoom in and zoom out. And if I click that, it will actually zoom in. And I have to click and drag it a little bit to get that zoom again, and I can click it again and click it again. I can keep clicking until I make it as big as I need it to be for me to work inside of it. So about 180% is pretty good for me. We've also got a ruler right here on the top and a ruler right here on the left-hand side that helps you to kind of keep track of where you're putting things on the page. And then also I want you to notice that some of these elements go past the page. So this item right here, if I click on it, you can see that it's actually past the page. You can do that. Whatever is actually on the page area is what's going to show inside of your magazine. If you want to do some editing to individual items, all you do is click on those items. So right here we've clicked on the text, and if I double click, it takes me in to start editing that text, and everything I need to edit is on the right hand side in a pop-out box. When I'm done editing, I just click in the blank space and that pop-out box goes away. So any of these items I can edit by just clicking on them, and it will bring out the pop-up box so I can start editing. Now when I'm ready for this to be published, all I have to do is click the publish button and it shows you exactly what it's going to look like when you publish. And then you can go back to the dashboard. If it looks exactly like you want it and you're ready to embed, all you do is click the embed button, and that gives you the iframe source to be able to add it to your website. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. So I'm going to click the copy button, and it's now ready to be added to a website. So let's go ahead and jump into a blank website and add this in and see what it looks like. So I'm here on a blank web page, and all I'm going to do is click the plus button and go down to apps and then HTML. And that gives me an HTML box that I can work with. I'm going to right click on that and click edit. And then between the body tags, I'm going to place that iframe code that I got from the magazine app. So I just pasted it in there. And now I'm going to click confirm. So now my magazine app is ready to go, but it looks teeny tiny. So I'm just going to go ahead and stretch it out a bit to take up whatever amount of space I want my magazine to take up. So there we go. I'll click save. and save again. And now I'm going to go to preview to take a look at what my magazine can look like. So I'm going to click preview. And right on my web page, there's my magazine, and I can flip through it just like you normally would. And I can go back the other way if I want to. So you can see that whatever size that you size it in the HTML box, the magazine will actually scale to that size. That's what it will look like on my live site. Now let's go back and go into the magazine app again and look at a few more features. Now if I want to save this magazine as a PDF, I can click right on the letters, and that will start the process of saving it as a PDF document. And it takes just a minute or two for it to save it, take everything that you've created and save it into a PDF document. But once it does, then you can go and look at the list of all the PDFs that you created and actually download that as a PDF. Once your PDF is done being created, you click the down arrow and you can actually export it. If it's listed here, if it's not, then just click See All and you can download it straight from that screen. You can also choose Preview, and Preview is really important if you want to choose the color of the background of your magazine and how it appears on your website. So let's check out Preview. And when you preview your magazine, you can see that this one has a white background. If you wanted to change the color of the background, you just click the different color that you want to change to, or you can put in the color codes, either the regular code or the RGB codes. Whichever one you choose, you can choose the colors that you want to be the background, and that will be how it appears on your website. I want to keep this a white background, so I'm going to click white, and then I'm going to click the home button to go back to my editor. When I go back to my editor, it goes back to the small size again, so I'm going to click the plus to go ahead and make it larger. And usually 180 is what I like to work with. So now we've covered how to go in and edit a magazine. Let's go in and start a brand new magazine and take a look at all the different elements you have and what you can add to your magazine. So we're going to start a brand new blank magazine. So I'm going to go to Home, and here's my list of magazines that I have already. I'm going to go ahead and click Add Magazine, and I'm going to name it. I've added the magazine title and the magazine description, and now I'm going to click Next. And from here I can choose a whole selection of magazines that are available that are pre-made for me. And if I want to preview any of those, I can click the preview button. Once I find one that I want, I just go ahead and click on that item, not the preview button, but actually on the item, so it has a little outline. We're going to choose the blank one, and then I'm going to click Confirm. So now it's created a brand new magazine for me, and it's completely blank. So let's go ahead and edit that magazine, and we'll play with some of the elements that we have available. So I'm going to click Edit, and now I'm in the edit mode of my blank magazine. And I'm going to go ahead and click the zoom so I can go ahead and get a little bit bigger image. So there's my blank template that I'm working with, and let's talk about all the things that we can do with this particular blank template. Up here on the top left hand side, I've got a few buttons I can choose. If I want to go back to the main dashboard where all of my magazines are at, I can click the dashboard icon. If I want to change the background color of the page, I can click the background color icon. If I click this, I can actually change the color of the background of the page. I just click anywhere on that color map and I can change the color to any color I want. I also have a slide here so I can change it to the different shades. And then I can drag here to change it to the exact shade I want. I also have the ability to add the hex color code here if I want to use that instead. If I have a different code, I just click these up-down buttons, and there's the RGB code, there's the HSL code, and then it goes back to the hex code. So you can choose any of those to choose your colors you want for the background. I'm going to go ahead and change it back to a white background, and then I'm going to click outside to get rid of that box. Then I have the images icon. If I click this, it shows me all of the images that I have available from my Pixel Perfect Builder. It's going into my digital file repository and showing all of the images that I've made available inside of my Pixel Perfect Builder. If there's an image that I need that has not been uploaded yet, I can actually upload it right here. I just click the upload button and upload it straight from my computer. The next area I want to show you is the icons here on the left-hand toolbar. The first one is the text icon. This allows me to add text to my page. So if I click that, you can see that a text box pops up. I can click and drag that anywhere I want to on the page. And then when I'm ready to edit the text, I just double click in there and I start adding my text. Once I've added my text, then I can go in and use this right-hand pop-out menu to format that text. So I can change the size and the style and also the color. So if I want to change that text color, I can change it. I can change the size and I can change the style. I can also align it to left, center, or right justified. And I can do some basic formatting, including bold, italic, and underline. I can change the transparency of the text. I can also change the space between the rows. So as you can see, the text right now is really crowded, and I can change that so that it separates out a little bit so it's not quite as crowded. I can also create a shadow behind the text, and I can change the color of the shadow first. And then I've got the X, Y, and blur numbers that I can change to make that shadow pop out. So I'm going to change the X to about a 3, the Y to about a 3, and then the blur to about a 6. And so now you can see I've got some shadow behind that text. And you can change the shadow color to any color that you want to. Typically the best shadows are just the lighter color of whatever the text is. Once I have the text edited the way I want, I just click outside of that box and it gets rid of the right-hand pop-out, and you're ready to add some more elements. I can also hover over that and then click and drag it wherever I want to. I also have the ability to turn it any direction that I want to. And I can resize the box. And again, I can drag it wherever I want to. So the next item I want to show you is the shapes. So I'm going to click Add Shape. And I have the choice of 4 different options. Let's go ahead and choose a box. And it adds a box in there. And I'll click and drag it down a little bit. For this box, I have a lot of settings on this right-hand pop-out menu. So the first thing is I can change the background color to a solid color, or I can go to a gradient. Let's go ahead and try the gradient, and let's make it a red to black gradient. So going red to black, you can see how that's transitioning for the gradient. And down here I have control over how I want that gradient to look. So I can click and drag that to make it change a little bit. The red one or the black one, and drag it. Also right here, I can change the way the gradient looks. So right now it's linear. I can change it to radial, and that makes it circular, radiating and changing colors. Then I can choose to add a shadow to the box. So I'm going to click this black, and we'll make it kind of a light gray color. And then I've got that same X, Y, and blur. So I'm going to change the X to about a 6, the Y to about a 6, and then the blur a little bit more than a 6. So now we have a shadow on that box. Remember, we can resize this box to be whatever size we want it to be. So if we want to have it like this. So now we clicked outside of the box, so that right-hand pop-out disappears. If we need the pop-out back, we just click on the box again, and the pop-out comes back in. Another neat feature that we have is rounded borders. So this is a very square box, so we can actually round those corners. So I'm going to change the corners to each one of them being at a 50. You can see now that all of those corners are rounded. I also want you to notice that I've dragged this box so that it's past the page. That means that that part that is not on the page is not going to show. So let's take a look at what that looks like when I have a part of an element off the page. So I'm just going to go to Preview, and you can see that it does exactly what it looks like it would do. It has that other part of that box off the page, so it doesn't even show. So let's go back to our editor. When we leave the editor and come back, we have to resize. So right down here, I'm going to zoom again, and I'm going to go all the way up to 180 again. That's my favorite size. And then I'll click and drag it down so I can see the whole thing. So the next thing we may want to add is an image. So this third icon is Add an Image. When I click that, it adds a placeholder image in there for me. I can click and drag that image wherever I want it to go. And also, if you look at the right pop-out menu, I have a lot of different things I can do with this image. So the first thing is the alternative text. So I'm going to type in what this image is going to be. And then I can manipulate the transparency to make it completely transparent, partially transparent, or not transparent at all. And then I can select the image that I want to use. So I'm going to click Select. And again, it pulls up all of the images that I already have in my Pixel Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this logo for Builderall. But if I didn't have the exact image here, I could click Upload and actually upload it to my digital file repository to use on my magazine app. So I'm going to go ahead and click the Builderall logo. So I'm going to click the check mark, and now it's added it in there for me. And I just click and drag it. And then I can resize by using these little handles either in the center of each side or in the corner. So I'm going to click and drag, and that allows me to resize it to the exact size I want, and then I can click and drag it wherever I want to on the page. Also, I'm able to specify the size, and this is a locked ratio. So if I have a specific size that I want it to be, I can type that size in and it will automatically keep the ratio for me. Instead of having me to click and drag and possibly mess up that ratio, it will keep it for me. I can also add a border to this image. So if I click the color, I can choose the color that I want for the border. I can also choose whether it's hidden, meaning not showing, a groove border, a solid border, or a double line border. And then I also can choose the size, which is the same thing as the weight. How thick do you want that border? So it goes all the way from 1 up to 30. You can also choose to have a shadow on this image, and you can choose the shadow color, and then of course have your X, Y, and blur settings. And then also on this image, you can have rounded borders if you want to add rounded borders to your image. Now you have the ability to click and drag it anywhere you want. When you're done with your image, you just click outside of it, and that right pop-out goes away. So now let's go ahead and start juggling some elements so we can add them where we want them. So I'm going to go ahead and make this larger. I'm going to add this in here, and I want that text to go over this box, but you can see that it's not going over the box. It's actually behind it. So we need to work with layering. So I'm going to go ahead and check out the layers. So I'm going to click the layer button over here, and it shows me all the layers that are for this page. And here's my text layer, which is this one right here, but it's at the bottom, and I actually need it at the top. So I'm going to go ahead and put it above where that square is. So I'm just going to click and drag it, and now that text is above the square. If I click and drag that text, it's actually layered above that box. So it shows now, and then I can resize the box just like this. And now I have them in layers a little bit differently than I had before. And then I can put the Builderall logo here, but again, it's not layered correctly. So I'm going to go into the layer area. So I'm going to click layers, and I'm going to grab that image, and I'm going to make sure it's above the square. So now I can grab it and put it on there, just like that, and it appears exactly the way I want it to appear. So now let's go ahead and preview and make sure it looks like we want it to look. So I'm going to click preview, and you can see now that I've got my box with the rounded corners. I've got my text that's in a layer above the box, and my image, which is in a layer above the box. So I'm going to go back to my dashboard. To get rid of the layers pop out, I just click the X, and there's another pop out that's pages. If I click that, it's going to show me all of the pages that are available. And for multiple pages, I can just click those pages and go straight to that page that I want to edit. You can close this right pop out by clicking the X button. Anytime you come back to this dashboard for making a change, you're going to go back to 100%, and all you need to do is just click that plus button, and you can continue to increase the size of what you're working with in your dashboard so you can see everything that you need to see. Now let's go ahead and add a page. To add a new page, all I need to do is click the plus button, and now you can see I'm on page 2 of 2. To get back to page 1 and edit, all I need to do is click this left arrow, and that takes me back to page 1 of 2. If I really like this page and I want to make a copy of it, all I need to do is click the duplicate button, and it will create a copy. I just have to confirm it, and now you can see I'm on page 3 of 3, and this is a duplicate page of page 1. If I want to go all the way back to page 1, I just click the left arrow, and now I'm back on page 1 of 3. If I want to go to page 2, I just click the right arrow. If I want to go to page 3, I click the right arrow again. Now if I don't want this page and I want to delete it, all I have to do is click the delete button and then confirm, and that deletes that page, and now I'm back to only 2 pages. This is page 1, and then page 2 is blank. So that should get you started working inside of your magazine app in Builderall. Whenever you're finished with your magazine app, just click the home and that will take you back to the dashboard where you can continue working inside of another magazine app, or you can choose to close it by going to this top arrow over here and clicking exit, and that will take you back to your dashboard.